What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. In this video, we're going to be talking about which states and which people are set to receive stimulus checks and stimulus payments in May, and also who is set to receive even more going forward. And the president says the government is set to reduce the national deficit. This was a shock to me because, well, check this out. There's a lot going on here. Check this out. When we look at the U.S. debt clock, yeah, you can see it's literally going up by thousands of dollars per second. Per second. And former President Donald Trump added somewhere around $8 trillion to the national debt in 4 years. It was around 30% of the entire national debt in our country's 200-year history in just 4 years. And I just find it hard to believe. Again, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but it's just our country just costs so much money to run now, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. It's just, I find it hard to believe that they're going to be able to reduce the national debt unless they do it through a package. But here's what President Biden has to say. Check this out.
This week, my administration released new information that contains that we're on track to cut the federal deficit by another $1.5 trillion by the end of this fiscal year. The biggest decline in a single year ever in American history. The biggest decline on top of us having a $350 billion drop in the deficit last year, my first year as president. We also learned that for the first time since 2016, the Treasury Department is planning to pay down the national debt issued to the public this quarter. And for all the talk the Republicans make about deficits, it didn't happen a single quarter under my predecessor. Not once. The bottom line is the deficit went up every year under my predecessor before the pandemic and during the pandemic. And it's gone down both years since I've been here. Period. They're the facts. And why is it important? Because bringing down the deficit is one way to ease inflationary pressures in an economy where a consequence of a war and gas prices and oil and food and it's a different world right this moment because of Ukraine and Russia. We reduced federal borrowing and we help combat inflation. This process is a great deal, is good news, but it didn't happen by itself. The previous administration increased the deficit every year it was in office, in part because of its reckless $2 trillion tax cut. I know you're tired of hearing me saying but a $2 trillion tax cut that was not paid for, And a tax cut that largely benefited the biggest corporations, 55 of which earned $40 billion in profits and paid not a single penny in income tax in 2020, and wealthiest Americans, like the billionaires, who on average pay just 8% in federal taxes. The previous administration not only ballooned the deficit, it undermined the watchdogs, the inspector generals, whose job it was to keep the pandemic relief funds from being wasted. Remember, at the time, I kept saying they're going to fire the inspector generals. Well, they fired the inspector general. And in my administration, those watchdogs are back. The Justice Department has a chief prosecutor for pandemic fraud who's going to go after the criminals who stole billions in relief money meant for small businesses and American families, but never got to them, got in the pockets of criminals.
Yeah, so you can see here, right here from CBS News, major headlines here from all political and major news stations. President Biden is highlighting deficit reduction and says the U.S. will pay down national debt for the first time in 6 years. Yeah, check this out. Yeah, the president highlighted deficit reduction remarks at Wednesday at the White House, noting that the government will pay down the national debt this quarter for the first time in 6 years. And Biden emphasized how strong job gains have increased total incomes and led to additional tax revenues that have improved the government's balance sheets. We've also seen this on the state level. This is part of the reason why states have been able to issue state stimulus checks because, one of the other reasons is because states have been given billions and billions of dollars from the last stimulus package, and now states are doing their 2023 fiscal year budget. They do it ahead of time and they pass it for the 2023 fiscal year. Um, and they're giving some of that money back to their residents. But the other reason is because now that people are going back to work, trying to come out of the pandemic, unemployment is actually at a very low rate right now. Yeah, you could see our hot job market and economic relief is a Wall Street worry. But this is part of the reason why inflation is so hot right now. Of course, there's a lot of factors for inflation right now. Um, but a lot of this is because inflation is a very complicated topic. There's so many reasons for inflation right now. The war, gas prices, food prices, um, but yeah. So the government and state governments, all these states, are actually flush with cash and actually have more revenue coming in than they're used to. Believe it or not, I know. Yeah, it says here besides the quarterly reduction in national debt, the Treasury Department estimates that the fiscal year's budget deficit will decline $1.5 trillion. That decrease marks an improvement from the initial forecast and would likely put the annual deficit below $1.3 trillion. They might need to update the algorithm on that website. Nationaldebt.org or whatever it was. They might need to change the algorithm on that webpage to start going down, I guess. Saying, quote, the bottom line is that the deficit went up every year under my predecessor, Biden saying here, before the pandemic and during the pandemic. And now it's gone down both years since I've been here, period. I'm shocked that it went down previously. We'll have to fact check that somehow. I think that maybe it might start going down. But did it really go down last year? I don't think it did. I guess we'll have to see, especially with the stimulus package. Um, I don't know. We'll have to try to fact check that. The Democratic president has placed renewed emphasis on deficit reduction going into midterm, with administration officials saying that the burst of the $1.9 trillion virus relief approved in 2021 has already paid off in the form of faster growth. Again, that package was not paid for, just like Trump's last two stimulus packages. Now, the next package they want to pay for, they want that to be paid for. But Trump's two stimulus packages were not paid for. So I just don't know if last year had a deficit reduction. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but we'll have to see. Now, I think going forward, there definitely could be a deficit reduction based on this new information that they're saying. But we'll have to see here. Deficit reduction also matches a priority of Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, the key Democrat vote in an evenly split Senate, who blocked the passage of Biden's domestic agenda previously. Now they're working on a new package now. The reduction also occurs during rising interest rates, and that will definitely help with inflation going forward. Now, I had previously talked about how, a one-time deficit reduction from, a stimulus package, the Build Back Better package that Joe Manchin wanted to reduce the deficit by like 100 billion or 200 billion. I know it sounds like a lot, but reducing the deficit by like, 30 from 30.4 trillion down to 30.3 trillion in the large scheme of things would do nothing. It'd be better to give a stimulus check to the people. Okay. But it's a much different story when you have actual real tax dollars coming in on a reoccurring basis, and now the deficit's going down. That's a reoccurring thing. That's not a one-time deal with a stimulus package, and it's very very different story. See, we're talking more like a business here that's cash flow positive. Okay. Very, very different thing. That's why if you've been watching my show here, I've talked a couple different times that I said I was very against Joe Manchin's proposal to reduce the deficit with the new version of Build Back Better and reduce the deficit by 100 billion or 200 billion. I think it'd be a much better use that money for the people with a stimulus check. Of course, that's just one part of the package. The package could be 2 trillion or 1.5 trillion or something like that. We really don't know what they're going to use all the money for. It could be child tax credits, it could be stimulus checks, it could be money for clean energy. There's a whole host of things that they could use $1 to $2 trillion for, right? Okay, and really we'll have to see. I'll keep you updated on that. In addition to all these state stimulus checks here, I'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, reducing the deficit with a one-time shot doesn't do anything. Like I said, going from $30.4 trillion on the deficit clock to 30.3 trillion, because it's just a one-time thing, is going to do nothing for nobody. But if your business, in this case the United States government, is bringing in more money than it's spending, and inflation's high like it is right now. Remember that it's a common recurring thing that occasionally you have high inflation. Most of the time here in the U.S. we have low inflation, but every 10 years or so you get high inflation. Every 10 15 years, just randomly you get high inflation. Then you got to combat it and raise interest rates and stuff like that. But if your business, or in this case your government, is making more money than they're spending, and now you can start reducing the deficit, that's a really good thing. Actually, that's a really good thing. You don't need to keep printing more money and spending more money. That's a really good thing that could really help inflation. And then think about this: the government could spend more money on the people, on social programs, things like SNAP, things like child tax credits, things like Social Security raises. And guess what? They wouldn't even need to spend the money, because they would be using tax dollars that they have. They wouldn't even be losing money. They'd be using money that they have, if you know what I'm saying, right? It wouldn't even be printing money. It would be using the money they already have, right? Yeah, it's actually a really cool thing here. And this is what states are doing. The states, if you've been watching my channel, states are saying exactly this. They're saying, like California, initially they were saying that we have $45 billion in their government surplus fund this year, after California sent like 27 million plus stimulus checks last year. They now have, initially they had $45 billion surplus here this year. And now they have like $64 billion of extra money, surplus money here this year, just as one state. And then all these other states have billions of dollars extra money here this year as well. So, and again, that's just one example. We've been covering as many states as we can here, and what the federal government's trying to do here as well. Trying to just cover as much information as I can here to help you guys out, as well as our daily news. Here's this latest article. Check this out. Really good information here. Yeah, check this out here directly from Newsweek. Stimulus check 2022 updates. These states set to receive payments in May. Yeah, because if you've been watching my channel, a lot of states are passing checks, stimulus checks, tax rebate checks, They all kind of have different names, but in reality, they're all checks. That's what matters. Here's some details. Residents of 4 U.S. states may be in line for upcoming stimulus payments to begin in May as the country continues to grapple with high inflation. 3 states, California, Delaware, and Indiana, are expected to make payments this month, while the city of Chicago is set to provide prepaid gas cards and transit cards. Here's a breakdown of upcoming payments by states. Really, I wouldn't be surprised if there's other ones with all the other states we've been covering. But here is what this specific article is covering at least. California, eligible residents of California are set to receive under 2 stimulus packages passed last year: Golden State Stimulus 1 and Golden State Stimulus 2. This is because they're still sending some of these out. Um, they will receive checks of either $600 or $1,200 for the first stimulus package. For the state, this is not the federal, of $1,200 or up to $1,100 under their second package. Some may receive lower payments under the Golden State Stimulus Package 2, depending on whether they qualified for Stimulus 1 or other factors. Californians who earn less than $75,000 a year and who filed their taxes by October 15th of 2021 will qualify. The state's Franchise Tax Board is also expected to issue a further tranche of checks in June. Residents may qualify for one or both payments according to their board and should check their eligibility as well. California is also proposing a check this year, but has not passed it yet. They're still trying to figure out the details. Delaware, the state of Delaware is planning to issue a tax rebate check by the end of May. Individual filers are to receive $300, while couples who file jointly can expect a check of $600, $300 per person. Yeah, pretty awesome. The rebates will be made to Delaware residents who have filed a personal income tax return for 2020. The rebate also applies to residents who do not earn enough money to file taxes in 2020. So that's one of those states where you don't need to file taxes, and they've figured out a system to still pay the people who didn't file taxes. Delaware. Not all states are doing that. But there's the information for Delaware. So, yeah. Delaware's Department of Finance told the U.S. Sun the state anticipates sending the first round of payments in May based on 2020 return data. They also said they expect to make further rounds of payments as well. Indiana, the state of Indiana, will also be providing rebates to eligible residents starting in May this year. Those who filed taxes as individuals are set to receive a payment of $125, while married couples will receive $250. Any person who filed taxes in the state before January 3rd, 2022 will be eligible. Paper checks may not go out until July or August, but those who provided banking information in 2021 with their tax returns will receive direct payments as well. This may be one of those states where you have to file a tax return for the state, and you may have already have had to do it. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Illinois, while the state of Illinois is expected to make payments of taxpayers up to $400 sometime later this year, the city of Chicago, yeah, so, and I think they have a property tax rebate as well, if I recall correctly. I don't have the information right in front of me, but I believe that can be up to $300 as well, for a total of up to $700. That's passed. The city of Chicago also will provide prepaid gas and transit cards to residents who are eligible. The city will issue up to 50,000 prepaid gas cards worth $150 each, and up to 100,000 prepaid transit cards worth $50 each. The cards will be issued under Mayor Lori Lightfoot's Chicago Moves program. 75% of these cards will prioritize residents in community areas that face higher mobility hardship, while the remaining 25% will be distributed citywide in equal amounts to each ward. The cards will be allotted by a lottery beginning in the second week of May and continuing into September. The use of gas cards will be limited to the purchase of gas at pumps located at any filling station within the city of Chicago. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here. There's a lot of other states that have already passed their state stimulus checks, and a lot of other ones that are working on them or are in consideration of them. But they might take a little bit of more time to get them out or get them passed. I'll keep you up to date here with as many as I can, as well as federal stimulus checks and also what's going on here with our country with everything important you need to know about. So make sure to subscribe down below. Click the subscribe button if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Remember, the new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Click the bell icon down below next to the subscribe button to get notifications when we go live so you don't miss out on any new videos. You can click here to watch my newest video next. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video that I just made. Or click this bottom video here about presidential executive orders coming. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.